Hello, I am the Christian counselor, and in our conversation today, we will talk about peace in relationships and how to find peace in relationships by living out the two greatest commandments. But now I want to talk to you calmly, without rushing, as if we were sitting together having an honest conversation face to face. For this reason, stay with me until the end of our conversation and pay close attention, because talking about relationships requires exactly that: time, reflection, and truth. Many times when someone decides to start a relationship, the intention is good. No one begins thinking it will go wrong. On the contrary, in the beginning, everything is beautiful. There is affection, there is attention, there is care. Dreams are being built, plans are being made, expectations are being created. Everything feels light, everything feels right. But as time goes by with daily life and as differences begin to appear, small cracks start to form. Sometimes they come from poorly chosen words. Other times from attitudes that hurt. In many cases, they come from silences that last longer than they should. When these cracks are not taken care of, they begin to grow. They become deeper. Until, in many relationships, the emotional walls eventually collapse. This does not happen to just one or two people. This happens all over the world. It happens in our society, in our country, in our cities, and many times very close to us. It happens inside homes, inside families, inside marriages, and inside friendships. As a Christian counselor, I want to tell you something very important. Yes, it is possible to live in peace in relationships. Not a false peace, not a superficial peace, but a real peace. There is a path to this, and that path is founded on love. The love taught by the Bible, taught by Jesus Christ. Let us walk together through 4 simple yet deeply transformative truths. First truth: conflict is part of life. It is important that you understand this from the very beginning. Wherever there are people, there will be conflict. This is part of the human condition, and the Bible does not hide this reality. When we look at Scripture, we see stories of wars, family arguments, disagreements between brothers, conflicts between friends, betrayals, and broken relationships. The Bible is extremely realistic about life. If we go back to the beginning of Genesis, we notice something very interesting. Only chapters 1 and 2 present a picture of complete peace. From chapter 3 onward, when sin enters human history, conflict begins, and it does not take long for the first murder to occur. This teaches us that we should not become frustrated when facing difficulties in relationships. The problem is not that conflict exists. The problem is how we deal with it. Second truth: loving God above everything else. On one occasion, Jesus was questioned by a religious leader. He asked, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment of the law?" Jesus answered clearly and directly, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your understanding." This answer teaches us something very deep. There is no true peace in relationships when other things take God's place in our lives. When we place people, money, status, desires, or expectations above God, sooner or later relationships suffer. This happens because we begin to demand from people what only God can give. When our heart, our soul, and our understanding are aligned with God, everything begins to be organized on the inside. And when the inside is in order, relationships begin to change as well. Trusting God with who you are, what you feel, and what you think transforms the way you react, speak, and act. Third truth: loving your neighbor as yourself. Jesus continues and says something equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. When our relationship with God begins to be healed, something very beautiful happens within us. Peace begins to grow in the heart, and that peace does not stay hidden. It shows itself in the way we speak, in the way we listen, and in the way we deal with the mistakes of others. Loving your neighbor as yourself teaches us to slow down, to listen more, to judge less, to try to understand before reacting. We begin to realize that every conflict has at least 2 sides, and when we learn to see the other side, many wounds begin to heal. Fourth truth: love is the foundation of everything. Jesus concludes by saying, "All the law and the prophets depend on these 2 commandments." With this, he teaches us that there is no rule, law, or religious practice greater than loving God and loving others. There is no magic formula. There is no more powerful ritual. There is no spiritual shortcut that can replace these 2 principles. Love is the foundation. Love is the base. Love is the way. When you choose to live by these principles every day, your relationships begin to change. Not because people become perfect, but because you learn how to deal better with imperfections. And that is how true peace is born. A peace that remains. A peace that transforms. A peace that begins when we seek the true source, Jesus Christ. Apply these principles in your life and in your relationships, and you will find a better life with God and, as a result, true peace and true love. I am the Christian Counselor, and I will return to my readings so that I may better guide you toward a better life with God and with the people you love. If you enjoy this content, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Here we seek to help and guide you to live in peace in your relationships with God and with others, through our manual for life, which is the Bible. I wish you all fraternal hugs and see you in our next video.